It's Tuesday, July 9. Good afternoon. I'm Herman Green with your midday news. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. We begin with news just in as the University Council of the Caribbean Maritime University, CMU, in a meeting held on Monday, July 8, confirmed that Professor Ibrahim Ajaguna, Deputy to the President, will act as President of the CMU effective today, July 9. Professor Ajaguna is also Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs and has worked at the CMU since 2006. Now, responding to the announcement, Professor Ajaguna said the university's brand remains strong on campus and beyond. In the meantime, Vice President of Technology and Innovation, Professor Noel Brown, will act as Deputy to the President. Professor Ajaguna is acting for President Professor Fritz Pinnock, who on Friday announced in a letter to the university's council that he will proceed on 6 weeks voluntary leave. Now, pressure is mounting for the government to take decisive action, including giving more information about the sea of controversy surrounding the former education minister and millions of dollars in questionable transactions under his leadership. Among the recent calls is one from Dr. Dayton Campbell, who was responding to Ruel Reid's helper, who says she was used as a pawn in the multi-million-dollar mix-up. TVJ's Usain Masters reports.
The helper of former Education Minister Ruel Reid has been at the forefront of discussions over the misappropriation of millions of dollars. In a Gleaner expose on Sunday, Mr. Reid's helper, Doreen Miller, claimed she was naively entangled in bank transactions involving millions of dollars for which Mr. Reid's family members were responsible. Doreen Miller, whose identity was revealed in a meeting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, last month, told the Gleaner she was coldly used by Mr. Reid's family and that she has been on the brink of a heart attack because of corruption claims about which she allegedly knows nothing. Reports are that approximately $4 million was transferred by the Caribbean Maritime University to an account to which Ms. Miller is signatory as part payment of a $20 million consultancy contract for Gail Dunwell Campbell. The matters in the investigation was a major talking point for the Peter Bunting Rise United campaign manager, Dr. Dayton Campbell.
She worked for 40 years at Jamaica College. The only thing that Miss Miller has is her good name and her reputation. And Ruel Reid has robbed her of her good name and her reputation. When I read the letter this morning, the article in the paper, I could feel the lady's pain because she can't go out in a peace again. The woman feel like she's going to have a heart attack or a stroke because she's under pressure, because she's hearing all sort of things through the media about how much money got through this account, that account, and all of these things, and she don't know nothing at all about what them attacks said. That's what she's saying.
He's challenging the government for what he terms a cover-up. As to date, no information is forthcoming from the Holness-led administration regarding the sacking of the former education minister.
For Andrew to have put Ruel Reid as information minister means a theme smaddy that, a theme link, a theme boy that. And for him to get up and just fire him and those are word to the country. And people sit down in our country when PNP in government, them chat every day, say them a part of this and that, the organization, and all of a sudden, them don't have nothing to say.
Dr. Campbell says with that in mind, he believes the time has come for a change.
I want to support a leader that is going to bring fire to the party, that is going to ensure that when the nastiness are going up there, the PNP will stand up and separate itself. I want to support Comrade Peter Bunting, who I know will not sit in Parliament, but will get up and put Wallace under pressure day and night and make Delver's skin color change complexion when pressure start reaching me by right.
Usain Masters, TVJ News.
One man was shot and killed and 2 others injured in a shooting incident in Devon, Manchester yesterday. The dead man is 23-year-old Kevoy Lawrence. TVJ News understands that around 3:30 p.m., Mr. Lawrence and 2 other men went to purchase a motor vehicle when they were allegedly lured to another location. It's reported that men traveling in a Nissan Tida motor car subsequently pounced on them and shot all 3 men. Residents called the police and the men were taken to hospital where Mr. Lawrence was pronounced dead. The other 2 men remain hospitalized. 4 persons have been detained and the 2 others are being sought in connection with a major car stealing ring operating in Midday, Clarendon. The men were taken into custody yesterday following a police operation in the Bucks Avenue area. During the operation, the police discovered and seized a large quantity of car parts along with clothing, money and other items. TVJ News understands that 3 women and elderly, including an elderly, were also taken in for questioning. Crime Officer for Clarendon, Deputy Superintendent Jermaine Angling, said the operation puts a dent in criminal activities in Midday. And we now take a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We have more stories after these messages. Welcome back, continuing the news. The head of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, is insisting that the island's 2 international airports are being upgraded. President and CEO of the AAJ, Audley Diedrich, was responding to Transport Minister Robert Montague, who recently called for the airports to be upgraded. Mr. Diedrich believes that further upgrades will come as investors pump in resources.
The privatization of the Sangster International Airport in 2003 by way of a public-private partnership concession to MBJ Airports Limited, which included a major capital improvement program of expansion, upgrade, and modernization of the airport, and which has had a positive impact on the airport's growth and service levels.
Meanwhile, Senior Director of Commercial Development and Planning at the AAJ, Alfred MacDonald, told TVJ News that there are plans in the pipeline to improve quality of service at not only the major international airports, but at the domestic airdromes. Mr. MacDonald said the Sangster International Airport currently has 25 more kiosks than the Norman Manley International Airport. Following the shooting death of a soldier in Clarendon early Sunday morning by a young man, a senior member of the JDF is encouraging students to stay away from criminal activity. Captain Ansel Gillan was speaking at the annual Positive Behavior Modification Program yesterday at the Christiana High School in Manchester.
Kids, I'm going to ask you, don't go down the road. This camp, if you were to dissect the words, Positive Behavior Enrichment Camp. It's a camp to enhance and enrich positive behaviors.
Captain Gillam, who is also a medical doctor, also used the opportunity to warn against the practice of skin bleaching. He pointed out that bleaching has negative long-term medical implications.
Right now, I see 5 bottle brown here. No, but Dr. Brown is, you tell the thing for the bottle around the face. Let me tell you, I am also a medical doctor, and take my word for it, it is going to affect you later on. By age 40, I might not be around to make some money off of you, but the bleaching is going to destroy you. Black is beautiful.
Meanwhile, principal of Christiana High School, Lysant Wallace, challenged the government to implement policies which would hold parents accountable for indisciplined and illegal behavior of their children. He also encouraged parents to be more actively involved in their children's lives.
Government put something in place to address these critical issues where lack of parenting is concerned. We see parents just sending their students to school. The students are left there by themselves, especially a shift school like Christian High School. Too often we have students coming here. We don't see the parents until graduation and orientation. Orientation, graduation. We don't see them. And we're saying that if we want to improve on that type of partnership with the students and the parents, the parents have to be a little bit more involved in their students' lives.
Local Government and Community Development Minister Desmond McKenzie has condemned the recent attacks on 2 municipal corporation employees. The ministry reported that Jermaine Jones, a security guard in the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, was shot while transporting funds he had collected from operators who used the facility. He's currently in hospital with critical injuries. Also, a member of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation was injured in an altercation with a driver at the King Street bus park in Spanish Town some weeks ago. The minister says he wants to encourage employees and police at the municipal corporation to maintain their spirits as the government looks at better security measures to handle unruly conduct and criminal activity. St. Catherine residents are to benefit from the government's indigent housing program soon. The confirmation comes from Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, following the groundbreaking ceremony for the first beneficiaries in the parish.
I know that many other persons are in need of facilities like these. However, it is a start. And once there's a start, it tells you that others will come after.
The construction of the first house under the program is expected to be completed in 3 weeks. Mayor Scott explained that the selection process for beneficiaries is done through poor relief.
I then spoke to my CEO and asked of him that the best possible way to have come up with the beneficiaries would be to use the poor relief department, and for them who are closest to the individuals, who would have known and seen and in some instances are part of the whole process.
Now, Nora Johnson is the first recipient. She says she's grateful for the assistance as residents in her community have ridiculed her because of her current living condition.
Plenty take it and curse me. So that it's in kitchen I live. I say, yes, I'm glad for it, my kitchen, for I'm not paying no rent. So I am thankful and I'm grateful for it.
I'm happy to be here to do this groundbreaking, and I know Ms. Nora Johnson will be very happy to go in our new home in the next 3 weeks' time. And I will do everything to make sure the 3 weeks the house is completed.
We go now to news in sports. Double sprint world record holder Usain Bolt has come out swinging in defense of coach Glenn Mills, who was recently raked over the coals by some former athletes who've either parted ways from Mills or the Racers Track Club entirely in recent months and weeks. Bolt, who was coached by Mills to 8 Olympic titles and 11 World Championship gold medals, says the swipes taken at Mills by Kemar Bailey, Warren Weir and Peter Matthews on social media are without merit.
Coach Mills is a person that always say, no, he's saying you don't need to answer anybody or you don't need to say anything about anybody because their time will come. But for me, when you get to a stage when a coach is going to develop you at a level and bring you up to the greatest you have ever been, and then you're going to turn around and disrespect the coach, Glenn Mills, I personally can't sit quiet.
Bolt says while athletes are free to move on from coaches, as he has done in the past, they should always remain respectful.
Yeah, I've moved along from coach, but I haven't disrespected anybody. You understand? We part our ways for the differences that we have, but when you're going to try to disrespect a coach at a level that he took it to a level that nobody, 1, 2, 3, me, Blake, Warren, never been done before. And then you're going to come and disrespect a coach like that. It hurts me personally because it's my coach, you understand? And I know he's not going to be happy with the fact that I'm defending him the way I am right now. But these athletes should know themselves and respect that Glenn Mills is the greatest. Glenn Mills have taken it to the highest level he have ever been in their career.
2012 double sprint silver medalist Blake is now being coached by Patrick Dawson at the Racers Track Club. Olympic and World Championship 200-meter medalist Weir is now being conditioned by American Lance Brahman in Florida, while Bailey Cole is now working with Gregory Little at Racers. And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.